So coming to Sukhasana, sitting cross-legged, close the eyes. Begin to both mentally and physically prepare for your practice. Root down evenly through the sitting bones. So whichever shin is crossed in the front, you'll feel a slight difference in the sides of the sitting bones there, but other than that, look for balance between the right and the left sides. So you might find that one sitting bone feels sharper than the other or heavier than the other. And if that's the case, see what subtle shifts you might do to, again, find a more equal grounding between the two. If you can visualize your tailbone as being like an inverted triangle, then the same is for the pubic bone in the front, like this upside down triangle with the longest part towards the navel. If you can lift up those top edges, the front hip bones of the pubic bone, and see if you can notice your core engage, a little bit of additional tension through the lower belly. Take a deep breath into your side ribs. Feel the rib cage expand. And as though you were wearing suspenders, draw upwards the front of the shoulders. At the same time, soften your shoulder blades down your back. Broaden the collarbones away from the center of the chest, away from the sternum. Visualize the bottom points of the shoulder blades moving inwards towards each other. And if you tug the hands gently against the knees, you'll get even more lift through the heart center. Soften the chin slightly down. And even though the eyes are closed, bring your gaze towards the horizon. Relax the muscles of the face. Soften the jaw. Unclench the teeth. Start to breathe more deeply. In and out through the nose. Warming the lungs. And focusing the mind. Inhale, sit tall. Lift from the crown of the head and the highest points of the ears. As you exhale, round out the spine, draw the chin towards the chest. Pause here as you press your spine back towards the mat behind you. Allow the shoulders to round forward. Find a stretch through the backs of the shoulders. Pull the hands against the knees. Squeeze your shoulder blades together. Take an inhale. Lift your heart center. And exhale as you round. Start to visualize cat-cow. Cat-cow on the hands and knees. Inhale, lift the chest. Lift the chin. Exhale and round shoulder blades. Press back, chin to the chest. Last time, breathe in. And exhale. As you move through spinal rotations. And depending on how your body feels this morning, you may move a little slowly, maybe a little quicker. On your next inhale, change the direction. And allow the rotations to get smaller and smaller and smaller. Circle back to center, stack one vertebra on top of the next. Inhale, sit tall. The top of your inhale, suspend the breath. Soften the shoulders. And slowly and patiently exhale. Exhale. Empty out the lungs completely. And allow your breath to find a natural rhythm. So open the eyes, uncross and recross the legs, taking a balanced approach. Interlace your hands in front, tuck the chin into the chest, reach the knuckles of your hands forward. Stretch out through the back of the neck. Space between the shoulder blades, the rhomboids, rear deltoids. And look forward. Turn the palms forward, inhale, and stretch your arms up overhead. Squeeze the biceps in towards your ears and keep your gaze on the horizon. Using the mind's eye, notice if your ribs have flared forward and soften the front ribs back. Lengthen through the lower back. Press evenly into the sitting bones. Another breath in. And as you exhale, turn to your right. An unleveraged spinal twist. So you don't have the hands here to pull you into a deeper twist. You have to really rely on those core muscles, the obliques, the erector spinae muscles that run the length of the spine, your postural muscles. Gives a little bit more of a true indication of your capacity to rotate the rib cage around the axis of the spine. Keep pressing the palms of the hands up. Take one more breath in. One last exhale here. And then release your hands down, left hand to the right knee, right fingertips come in behind. Flip the left hand over, turn the palm of the hand towards that side wall. Walk your right fingertips in closer to the base of your spine. Sit tall, draw the lower belly in and up. Then if you wanted to take the right hand, keep sliding it in behind your back. Maybe you find the opposite inner thigh. Take your gaze to the left and feel that rotation of the spine from the lower back, through the mid back, all the way up through the neck. Turn to face forward. Relax the shoulders. Stretch the arms forward. Take the awkward interlacing other index finger on top. Chin to the chest. Reach the knuckles of the hands forward. Feel your shoulder blades separate away from your spine. And bring your gaze forward. Turn the palms forward. Stretch your arms up. Hug your biceps in towards your ears. Try to do that without shrugging the shoulders. Front ribs soften back. Take an inhale. Exhale, turn to your left. An unleveraged twist, relying more on those core muscles to rotate the rib cage around. One more inhale, press the palms to the sky, draw the arms back. Exhale, twist. And release the hands down. Left fingertips come in behind. Right hand to the left leg. Flip the right hand over so it's the back of the arm. Sit tall, inhale. And you can use that leverage of the arm and the hand to slide a little bit deeper into the twist. Walk the left hand in a little bit closer to the tailbone so you're sitting nice and tall. And if you want to maintain that height and keep sliding the left arm around, maybe you hook the opposite leg. Bring your gaze to the right. So adding the neck. Then challenge yourself to breathe deeply here. Inhale for 4. Exhale for 4. And release back to center. Plant the hands behind you, uncross your legs, plant your feet. Windshield wipe the legs gently from side to side. And come to neutral. Swing your legs to the side, find your way, hands and knees, and move through a few rounds of cat-cow. Again, follow your own pace. So if you want to stay in spinal extension for an extra breath, pause there. If you like that rounded position first thing in the morning, then maybe you take an extra breath there. Last one here, inhale as you arch. Exhale, round, look towards the belly, lengthen out through the back of the neck, pull the belly to the spine, and hover your knees above the mat. Really power up the arms here. So press down through the hands, but have that strength originate from the shoulders, down through the elbows. Knees to the mat, take an inhale, arching the back. Exhale, round, look towards your belly, hover the knees. Press back, half downward facing dog. So just a bent knee downward dog. Press the torso back towards the thighs. Let the hips sink towards the heels. Start to build some heat in the upper thigh muscles. Bring your knees to the floor. Inhale, arching. Exhale and round. Look to the belly. Hover your knees. Press back, half downward facing dog. Reach the crown of the head towards the thumbs. And straighten out the legs. Pedal the heels. A little shift of the hips. Again, maybe a bit more of an intuitive start here. And move into your full downward dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Reach the crown of the head towards the thumbs. And plug your upper arm bones into the shoulder sockets. With the hands firmly rooting down, magnetize the inner forearms towards each other. In other words, imagine that you want to squeeze the inner forearms together and notice the impact this has on your upper back. Walk your hands to your feet. Come to the back of the mat. Soften your knees as you fold forward. Release the crown of the head towards the earth. Let the belly come close to the thighs and take opposite hand to elbow. For the first couple of breaths, just allowing the spine to flow over the legs. With knees bent, hamstrings are taken out of the equation. When you go to straighten the legs now, do so by lifting your sitting bones up towards the sky. So lift the sitting bones up. Keep drawing the torso towards the thighs. So you're still folding forward. Nod the head yes and no. Change the clasping of your arms. Take the other hand on the bottom and shift from side to side. Come to neutral and attempt to drag your heels towards the back of the mat. They won't actually move, but attempt to pull them back. This activates the hamstring muscles at the backs of the legs. Rebend into your knees, take the belly right close to the thighs. So sink even further into the knees, slide your hips back and start to lift your forearms up towards the ceiling. If you can, take the forearms beyond your line of vision. Pull the points of the elbows forward. When you look at your knees, keep them aligned somewhat over the ankles. Hold for 3. When you come to stand, pull the hips firmly forward. So take an inhale. It's like you're swinging the hips forward. Lift the points of the elbows towards the sky. Hinge over to your left. Can rest your head on the lower arm and take your gaze towards the ceiling. Inhale, center. Exhale, hinge over to your right. Tug gently on that upper elbow. Rest the head on the lower arm and take your gaze towards the ceiling. Inhale back up to center. Lower your arms down. Interlace your hands behind you. Roll the shoulders up, back, and down. Lift your chest towards the sky. Fold halfway down and pause. Nod the chin towards the chest. Lift the arms up off the back. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other. Reach the crown of the head forward, knuckles of the hands drawing back. Breathe in. Hinging from your hips, hip crease at the tops of the thighs, come all the way forward. Keep lifting your arms up a little bit higher and then shift them from side to side. Left fingertips come to the floor, bend your left knee. Reach the right arm up, option A. Or take the arm, slide it all the way in behind your back. Maybe look for the opposite inner thigh, option B. Try to squeeze the front of that right shoulder back as you roll your left rib cage forward. It's the difference between rotating the torso and just leaning to the right. And of course, we want the former. Release the right arm back up. Inhale. Along the plane of your cheeks, stretch. And lower the fingertips down. Bend your right knee, reach your left arm up. Option 2, reach all the way behind, maybe find that opposite leg. Pull the left shoulder head back. Roll the right rib cage, the bottom one, forward. Left arm reaches up. Inhale. Along the plane of the cheeks, stretch. And release. Walk forward, downward facing dog. And lift up high onto the balls of the feet. Look forward, find your way to the top of the mat, however you need to get there. Lift halfway up on arrival and fold forward over the legs. Take a deep bend in the knees. Belly moves close to the thighs, as close as you can. Sink the hips down as low as you can. Outer edges of the feet parallel with the outer sides of the mat. Stretch the arms forward, sink your hips back so you're driving down through the heels. Lift the thumbs up towards the sky. Bring your hands to your heart center. Shift the gaze forward, more of a familiar Utkatasana or chair pose. Focus your gaze, take the weight into the balls of the feet, float your heels up. Stay focused with an inhale, come all the way up, balls of the feet, press your heels firmly forward. Really move into those calf muscles. And drop your heels down. Surya Namaskara A, Sun Salutation A. Inhale, reach your arms up overhead, look to the thumbs. Exhale and fold over the legs. Take your hands down through your heart center. Lift halfway up, breathe in, gaze forward. Step back, top of a push-up. So you're stepping right back into a plank pose. Pull the navel to the spine, fire up the legs, press your heels back. Maybe for the first one, you take the knees down. Maybe for all of them, you have the knees down. It's entirely up to you. I'll go with this option to begin. Shoulder head squeeze back. Turn the points or the creases of your elbows forward towards the short edge of the mat. Breathe in. And in slow motion, exhale, hug the elbows to the ribs, low push-up. Slow motion, shoulder heads back, come all the way down to the floor and point your toes back. Rise up onto the fingertips and take your hands just barely off the mat. Points of the elbows towards the sky. Press the tops of your feet down, kneecaps lifting. With an inhale, draw your chest away from the floor. Any small amount is good enough. Front hip bones, pubic bone, press downwards into the floor. Send your tailbone towards your heels, lengthen through the low back. Take another inhale as you lift the chest, squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other and down the back. And exhale, release. Turn your toes under, hands under the shoulders, press back tabletop. Just come to all four. Slide back child's pose, hips to the heels. Pull the breath down into the lower back. Forward again, tabletop, as a transition to downward facing dog. So we have a few different levels here, and not only that, but a few different options just because the body feels different every single day. If you wanted to try something new, you might take your left hand, reach for the right leg, drop your left shoulder down, look under the right arm. I don't recommend this unless you have a good sticky mat. You don't want to slip. Left hand comes down, but of course you could stay in downward dog or even take your knees to the mat, child's pose. If you want to switch it up, right hand now, left leg, look left. And lower the right hand down. Come up high onto your toes, look forward, step to the top of the mat. Lift once you get there and fold over the legs. Inhale, reach the arms to the sides or overhead as you rise up. Exhale the hands to the heart center. We'll go 2 more rounds. Inhale, arms reach. Exhale, fold over the legs. Halfway lift, breathe in. Step back, plank pose, and pause. So if you did want to take your knees down, knees would come down here. Otherwise, keep your knees off the mat. And we're extending the right leg. This is no easier to do with that left knee down from a plank position. So right leg lifts, navel to the spine, crown reaching forward, heel presses back. Lower the right foot. Left leg lifts. Squeeze your glutes, navel to the spine. And lower. Knees are down or up, creases of the elbows forward. Take an inhale. Exhale, elbows graze the ribs as you lower all the way down. Point your toes, widen the hands, pop up onto the fingertips, elbow points to the sky. Press the tops of the feet down, kneecaps off the mat. Inhale, draw your chest away from the floor. So maybe you lift a little bit higher at this point. Breathing a little bit more deeply. Pull your belly button forward towards the top of the mat, like you're dragging the belly forward. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other. Slide them down your back. Take one more inhale. And exhale. Release. Hands under the shoulders, toes under, press back, tabletop. Hips to the heels, child's pose. Breathe into the low back. Move to all four. Downward facing dog. Take your left toes to the right heel and guide the heel a little bit closer to the floor. Left foot down, right toes, left heel, change sides. Right foot down, come up high onto the balls of the feet. Look forward, step to the top of the mat. Lift when you get there and fold as you exhale. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to the heart center. Last round, inhale, arms overhead, look to the thumbs. Exhale, fold, hinging at your hips. Halfway lift, breathe in. Step back, plank pose. A deep breath in here. Keep your knees down or up. Creases of the elbows forward. Fold, or rather lower down. Elbows hug the ribs. So it's a tricep push-up, really. Next, inhale, lift the chest. Just the one breath here. Exhale, right back into child's pose. Take your left hand, palm facing up, slide it underneath the right one. Drop your left shoulder, left temple towards the floor. You can either stay here or reach that right arm up, but make sure that you're pushing firmly down with the left one if you do want to reach the arm up. Another option, take that arm, slide it in behind your back and go with that theme of a half bind, kind of connecting with the opposite leg, rolling the right shoulder back. Release the arm up. Lower your hand to the floor. Press into the hand, slide your left arm through, back to a child's pose, arms reaching overhead. Balasana. Right hand, palm facing up, slides in behind your left one. Right temple, right ear to the floor, right shoulder grounding down. Feel free to stay there or stretch the left arm up. What you don't want is a whole bunch of unnecessary stress, pressure, or weight on your head. So that's why it's so important to keep rooting down, back of the right shoulder, all the way out through the fingertips. And then if you wanted to take the left arm in behind, roll the left shoulder, head back and down, hold and breathe. Left arm reaches up, hand to the mat, Slide your right arm through. Return to downward dog. Come up high onto the balls of the feet. Look forward. Step to the top of the mat. Lift halfway once you get there. And fold forward over the legs. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to the heart center. Take an extra breath. And again, a deep breath in and out. Last round, inhale, arms reach, lift your gaze. Exhale, fold over the legs. Halfway lift, breathe in. Step back, plank pose, knees down or up. So moving now with the breath. Exhale, low push up, come all the way down. Inhale, a baby back bend, cobra or upward facing dog if you're familiar with it. Right through to downward facing dog, tailbone to the sky. Feel free to be in a child's pose. Come up high onto the balls of the feet. Look forward, step to the top of the mat. And fold over the legs. Inhale, rise up. Exhale, hands to the heart center. You can interlace your hands in behind your head. Press the back of the head into your hands, strengthening the neck here. Draw the hips forward, soften your front ribs back. Notice if the front ribs flare forward. Squeeze your shoulder blades towards each other, pulling the elbows back. Using your hands, if you just gently slide the skin of the scalp slightly towards the ceiling, chin will soften down. You should feel a lengthening through the back of the neck. Take an inhale. Exhale, turn to your right, but keep the elbows squeezing back. Lighten the grip of your hands. Focus on the strength as originating from your core. Inhale, center. Exhale, left. Inhale, center. And exhale, you can lower the arms down. Rotate the wrists. Maybe roll the shoulders out. Step to the top of the mat and find a big step back with your right leg. Once you've stepped your right foot back, widen the space between your feet a little bit. Notice how the pelvis wants to tilt slightly to the side. Pull the right hip forward towards the top of the mat. So not this kind of tilting, but the opposite. Pull the right hip forward. You've got a leveling of the pelvis. Stretch your arms out, warrior B. Look at the front knee. Notice how it wants to soften towards the big toe side of the foot. Rotate the kneecap towards the second toe. Do this firmly from the femur at the top of your thigh. See if you can find that energy. Bend into the knee slowly. Squeeze the knee towards the second and third toe. Do so again. By rotating that femur externally, rotate the upper thigh bone to pull the knee towards the second toe. Hold and breathe. It can be nice to just take that right arm down. It's not the focus anyway, and follows the theme of opening up the front of the shoulder. At the same time, take your left hand behind the knee, pull the knee into your hand, or push the knee into your hand. When you look down, you can see your big and maybe even the second toe. Stretch the left arm back up. Externally rotate this thigh, so building a lot of strength and stamina in the legs and also your cardiovascular system. When you go to straighten the left leg, do it in slow motion using your quadriceps. You're pulling that kneecap upwards into the pelvis, like pulling up a pair of socks or trousers. So slowly straighten the leg. Keep that external rotation. Feel a burn in the upper thigh. And reach far forward without coming all the way into Trikonasana. Come just halfway down. Reach as far left as you can. Take another inhale, reach, pause. Drop your left hand down wherever it will go. To access these inner thigh muscles, externally rotate that thigh. If done correctly, you should feel a bit of a tug through the inner groins. Hold and breathe. Release the right arm up. Rotate the palm towards you. Stretch the arm along the plane of the cheek. Externally rotate the front thigh. That's your focus. Bend into your left knee. Pivot onto the ball of the back foot. Take your right fingertips to the floor. Take your right knee to the mat. And lean gently forward with your torso. Long spine. Navel to the spine. Tailbone towards the back heel. Pick your right knee up. Step forward as many steps as you need to come to the top of the mat. Once you get there, lift halfway and fold over the legs. Opposite hand to elbow here for a very short little mini break. And release the arms, pull the belly to the spine as you round your way up one vertebra at a time. Hands come to the hips, take a big step back with the left leg. Once you've stepped back, widen your stance further, slide the left foot back. Adjust the pelvis, even it out. So that's pulling your left hip forward. It wants to drop to the left, pull it forward towards the top of the mat. Front hip bones lift, pubic bone lifts, core engaged. Then look at the front foot, firm external rotation of that front thigh. Turn the kneecap as much as you can to track the second and third toes. Arms outstretched. In slow motion with the kneecap tracking the two toes, bend into the knee as slowly as you can. This is the challenge. It's easy to just bend deeply. You're moving in slow motion and pulling that knee towards the second and third toes. So when you look, you've got a clear view of at least the big toe. Hold and breathe. You can slide your left arm in behind your back. Take the right hand behind the knee. Press the knee into your hand. So even if the hand doesn't come to the knee, comes to the thigh, same difference. Press the knee into your hand. So really activating the outer hip muscles here. Externally rotate that thigh. Stretch the arm back out. Sorry, just the right one. And in slow motion, pulling the kneecap towards the pelvis. Start to straighten out your right leg slowly, slowly. Keep the kneecap tracking the second and third toes. Reach right, but only halfway, Trikonasana. You want to feel that gripping through the inner thighs. When you externally rotate the thigh, you should. Reaching as far to the right as you can. Drop the hand down. Hips forward, torso leans slightly back. Hold and breathe. External rotation of the thigh. Keep rotating the kneecap towards the second and third toes. Finally, release your left arm up. Bend deeply into that front knee. Pivot onto the ball of the back foot, lower your hand down. Take your left knee to the floor and lean forward with the torso. And pick the back knee up. Take as many steps as you need to come to the top of the mat. And fold. Heavy torso, stack one vertebra on top of the next. As you come all the way up to standing, on the inhale, reach your arms up. Press the hands together, look to your thumbs, and fold over the legs. Halfway lift, breathe in. Step back, downward dog. Knees to the mat. Walk your hands out over to the right. Send your hips back towards the left heel. So your hips definitely don't have to connect with the heel here. In fact, it's probably better if they don't, because then you're creating some traction using the arms to create space between the vertebrae of the spine. So if you keep inching the fingertips forward more and more, sliding your hips back, soften your outer left shoulder down. Breathe into your left side body. And shift forward. Walk your hands all the way to the left. Slide your hips back to the right. Keep inching the fingertips further forward. Soften the outer right shoulder down. Shift forward. Walk your hands through center. Swing your legs to the side. Come to the top of the mat. Take the hands in behind your thighs and curl your way down, but only until the elbows are straight. Hold. Soften the chin towards the chest. If this is fairly accessible, reach the arms forward. Navel to the spine. There is no back pain here. No compression in the lower back. If you're feeling that, don't go any further, or even just come lying right down onto the mat. If this is accessible, you could lift up onto the toes. Squeeze your knees together, navel to the spine, maintain that slight C shape with the spine. If this is accessible, maybe shins lift up parallel to the floor. And if this is easy, straighten out the legs. Feet to the mat. Slowly and with control, come all the way down. As you come down, hug the knees into the chest and rock gently from side to side. A little massage for your lower back ribs, even the backs of the shoulders. And bring your feet to the floor. Take the soles of your feet together. Drop the knees out to the sides away from each other. Close the eyes and bring your hands to any comfortable position. Use the mind's eye to explore that feeling of external rotation, the upper thighs. Visualize your kneecaps moving in the direction of the baby toes, in the direction of the floor. Soften your front ribs down. And as you inhale, draw your back ribs towards the mat. Long, smooth, deep, and even breathing. Use your hands to guide the knees together. And then widen the space between your feet, but keep the knees pressing inwards towards each other. Breathe space into your lower back. Allow the inner thighs to relax. Walk your feet back in hip width distance. Step your feet forward on the mat. Find your way into Shavasana. The most accessible and yet, for many, most challenging posture of the practice, where you are invited to be still, relaxed, but at the same time, mentally aware. Allow any sounds to fade into the distance. Sort of dulling the senses. Forget about breathing deeply. Just allow your breath to find its own natural rhythm. At peace, content, integrating the benefits of the practice. Bring your awareness to your breath and start to breathe more deeply. Awaken the body. Wiggle the fingers and toes. Rotate the wrists and ankles. Inhale through the nose, extend the arms overhead. Lengthen the spine, point the toes, and through the mouth, exhale. Bring the knees to the chest. Rock and roll forward and back and side to side. Find your way back. Seated, cross-legged, eyes closed, hands together at the heart center. We'll seal the practice with the sound of Om. Take a conscious breath in. Namaste.